All right, so we looked at already adding and subtracting fractions, and we looked at the first type, which is when there's a common denominator. Now we're going to look at the second type, type 2, and that is when they have an uncommon denominator. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find the LCD. Find LCD. LCD stands for least common denominator. Basically, we need to make sure they have a common denominator. In an ideal world, it's the least one, least common. So the smallest number that they're common, smallest multiple. But sometimes it might be easier just to multiply, and I'll show you guys here. The next would be multiply both denominator and numerator by the multiple. Okay, so multiply both the denominator and numerator by that multiple, and you'll see in the example what I mean here. Then we add / subtract the new numerators keep denominator, and then simplify if necessary. So those are our steps to follow. Okay? We just basically added 2 more steps. Find the least common denominator, do the multiplication, and then boom. All right, so we're going to slide this up a little bit so we have room for some examples. So the first example, example 5, is going to be 1/3 plus 2/9. Well, they don't have a common denominator, so we need to figure out what the least common denominator is. Well, if we list the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. The multiples of 9 are 9, 18, 27, and so on. Well, if you remember, I said 9 for both of them. Well, 9 is already 9, so I don't need to do anything to that. For this 3, I need to turn to 9. In order to do that, I need to multiply this 3 by 3. And if I multiply the bottom by 3, I have to multiply the top by 3 as well. Right? So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Again, we didn't need to do anything to this because it already is 9. We have 2/9. So 3/9 plus 2/9 equals 5/9. 5 and 9, they don't have a common factor, so there's our answer. So let's look at another one. So let's go with example 6. 10/11 minus 3/22. Slide this up so we can see it a little bit better. We don't have a common denominator. Our least common denominator would be 22. So we're going to multiply this by 2. And since I multiply the bottom by 2, I have to multiply my top by 2, giving me 20 over 22 minus 3 over 22, which then I now have a common denominator, which is 22. 20 minus 3 is 17. This can't be simplified, so we're done. And let's do 2 more examples, just like we did with the first little section. So let's do example 7, which is going to be 2/5 plus 1/6. Well, we're not common. Well, what is the least common multiple between 5 and 6? Well, when we have something like this, the easiest thing to do is multiply by opposite denominators. So we can take 6 times the 5. Then I have to do that to the top. And we could take this 6 times the 5 is here. Do the same thing to the top. Leaving me now with my new fraction of 12 over 30 plus 5 over 30. We add the 2. This is 17 over 30 because we keep our new denominator. That cannot be simplified. Thus, we are done. And let's look at example 8. It's going to be 5/9 minus 1/2. Okay. We don't have a common denominator. 2 can't go into 9 evenly. Least common multiple would be 18. So we're going to multiply by 9 here, multiply by 9 here, multiply this side by 2, multiply this side by 2. So our new common denominator is 18 minus something over 18. 9 times 1 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. Denominator stays the same. We get 1/18. That can't be simplified, and we're done. Now, it doesn't always work this way. It doesn't work where we don't need to simplify. Just happen to come up with examples that were that way. Sometimes we do need to make sure we simplify. Hopefully this helped. There will be a couple practice problems for you to do, and remember to take a picture of that.